Okay, hi guys. So this is your tutorial 8 water supply for your building science and services. There's about 9 questions in this, so most all of them are theory lah, which you can find which the answer you can find from your lecture notes. So let's get on with the first question. So the first question is to explain the needs of water conservation and list the possible methods. So why do we need to conserve water? So as you can see here, the reason why we need to conserve water is because our population has rapidly grown. So as our population increase, when population it means human population, then our water usage will increase. So this is a keyword lah. So population is rapidly growing and our water usage will increase. So the next part is fresh water is still remain the same. So what because our water usage increases, our demand for the water usage also increases. So to meet the demand, we will need to build more water treatment plant. So if we do not do anything, we do not conserve the water, then in the future for sure as our population increase more and more and if you do not build more treatment plant, water treatment plant, then we will not be able to meet the demand, the water demand for the population. So this is why water conservation is important. So a few methods of how water can be conserved is by recycling rainwater. So this is called grey water also lah, and also recycling grey water. So grey water is the water in which you may use to wash your dishes. So you may use that to water your plant. And then next will be installing a dual flush cistern in your washroom. So instead of using the full load of your toilet to wash everything, even if you pee or you do your big business, so you use half of the required amount to just flush your urine. So next is finally you install a push button or self-closing tap at wash basin in toilet. So usually this will be what you install in this is what you'll find in a shopping mall lah. So usually in your house you don't install this because most of the time we'll be paying for our water bill. So we will be self-conscious to close the water because if we let the water flow out freely, then we will need to pay the bill. Okay, so next we have question number 2 is to name the source of water supply and explain the requirement to be satisfied for a good water supply system. So one of the three sources of the water supply in which we can obtain the water from is rain, groundwater, and surface water. And a good requirement to a water supply system is we need the water to be colorless, free of any suspended matter, organic or inorganic, and free from any harmful bacteria. So we do not want the water being supplied to us to have any weird color, any weird smell, anything that's suspended inside the water, and also free from any harmful bacteria that will make it not safe for consumption. So this is a requirement that needs to be satisfied lah, for a good water supply to a city. Okay, so next is week 8 of flowchart. Indicate the potable water supply and discharge process. So for this question, you are just to show how the flow of water can be lah. So here we first have our water catchment area, which is usually the dam, and then we have our water intake station. Then you will go to a water treatment plant, and then you go to the plant storage, then service tank, and internal water distribution system, and then to our internal sanitary system, and then this is actually on our house, and then it will be going out to the external sewage network and to the sewage treatment plant. And then finally, once this is treated, it will be discharged to the river. So this is a cycle on how the water supply is being used from the source, which is the river. In this case, let's say for example, the water catchment area is a dam. So it will follow this sort of flow process in which water is being taken and treated, stored, and then being distributed to different tank, and finally to us, to our use in our house for sanitary purpose, and then dispose off on pipeline to the sewage treatment plant, and finally once it's treated, it will discharge back into the environment, usually the river. So this is how the water supply and discharge process is being this is what's the process, the cycle of the discharge process. Okay, so next for your question number 4, we have the 6 main process with 3 principal stage in water treatment. So the 3 principal stage of the water treatment is the primary, secondary, and tertiary. So the first is the screening, and then we have our plain sediment, then sedimentation with coagulation, filtration, and then we have our aeration and chemical treatment and disinfection. So for the first process, which is screening, is mainly to remove organic or large material from the water. And then second is the process of making the water clear from any material. And third is finally to ensure that there is no bacteria inside the water. So this is the 3 primary process, but here is a 6 main process to ensure that the water comes out and the water is being treated in the water treatment plant to ensure that they are being treated and to the requirement to be supplied to us, normal usage. Okay, so next question. So is asking us to name the 3 types of external water distribution system and compare them between the different types of system. So the first is the distribution system using gravity. So if you were to look around, the most efficient way to distribute water is always through gravity because it is most reliable and low operating cost. So for this sort of water distribution system, when you are using gravity, you want to have your storage tank at a very high level. So usually it will be a concrete structure or a steel structure. So usually there's not much disadvantages to it, and the advantages to using gravity type of water distribution system is very reliable because gravity will not fail us, and is usually a very low operating cost because you do not need pump as compared to the other 2 method. So the other method is the direct pump method, which means it's using pump to distribute the water. So by using pump, we can regulate the pressure and flow easily, and if we need to take any action due to any breakdown, then we will be able to do it quickly lah. But because we are using pump, so you always encounter problem with pump because pump have a lifespan, and through the usage of the pump, because you have to use the pump to distribute the water, it takes electrical energy and it has moving part inside. So every year you need to do some maintenance on it, or every few months you need to do some maintenance on a pump. So this costs money. So you'll have a high operating cost. You need to do maintenance. You need to hire people to take care of to check up on the pump and also to operate on the pump if there is a problem. And then lastly, we have the combined method of gravity and pump for distribution method. So this cause the least under certain topography condition. Means that if although we want to use gravity, but we still need to rely on pumping. So instead of fully utilizing pumping for all the location, we use a combination of gravity and pump. So it will actually cost less as compared to only using pump to distribute the water to the area. So it will cost less because not a lot of pump will be required, or not a very big pump will be required, but still the disadvantage regarding the usage of pump is still there. So this is the difference between the three types of the external water distribution system. So next question is to asking you to name the most common cold water supply system for low-rise building in Malaysia, and subsequently explain with sketch the concept of this system. So this is the sketch of the cold water supply system. So the most common method will be indirect water supply system. So in this system, the water is supplied to a cold water storage first, then only they are supplied to your home usage tap or water supply fitting. So okay, so why is this indirect water supply system the most common usage is because by having the water being supplied to the cold water storage, then if the main supply provided by JKR or Shabas were to fail, then we will actually still be having water in our house. So this is actually one of the main reasons why most of the house in Malaysia is using indirect water supply instead of direct water supply. So to ensure a constant stream of and pressure of the water via gravity or by our own installed home pump to pump the water, and also to ensure there's a backup water for us in case there's any disruption from the main water supply. So this is one of the main reasons lah, why indirect water supply system is the most common system installed in a low-rise building. Okay, so next question. So with the aid of an diagram, describe the direct pumping system of water supply. So if you can see here, this is the sketch of the direct water supply distribution system. So you have a pump. So you have our incoming main line. So there will be a meter here and there will be a duplicate pump here. So one thing we will notice is that although there will be water storage here, but we notice that there is line going out here, which is providing user with direct supply. So this is what it means by a direct supply system. So which is also can be seen here. So for high rise, there will be zone, an upper zone and a lower zone. So the pump system will not be able to provide the good pressure all the way up to the highest floor. That's why you will need additional duplicate pump to ensure that the water pressure from the top here, upper level, will have sufficient pressure head, water level head. So that's why you need additional pump to ensure that the water pressure is going up and reaching the upper zone. So may be more zone depending on how high the high rise is. If you have 50 floor, then maybe you have up to 5 zone. So this is just an example lah, just to let you know that there's not only upper zone and lower zone. Okay, next question 8 is to sketch a diagram of indirect cold water supply. and then you have to indicate the following. So the sketch is something like this, which you can find from your lecture notes. And then finally, we need to list out the factors that's to be considered for water pipe selection. So there are, there are about 8. First is the corrosion resistance of the material to water, strength of pipe material, durability of pipe, cost as compared to other pipe material, sustainability and workability for laying and operating requirement, extent of possible leakage, ease of installation, and availability of material, either locally manufactured or imported. So the question just asks you to list, so you just list out lah. So if the question asks you to explain, then you have to give a bit of explanation on why these factors needs to be considered. But in this case, the question just asks you to list, so you just list out this, it will be good enough. So that's all for your tutorial 8. So thank you for listening. So if you have any questions, so feel free to ask after you finish your video lah. Okay.